Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and welcome to your Escambia County Sheriff's Report. Again, a bi-weekly program that brings the happenings in Escambia County and specifically what's going on at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, where we highlight the accomplishments and the ongoing plans and programs of the men and women that protect our community. Again, I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, honored to be here tonight. We again want to apologize that we're still not in the call-in mode. That's still about a month and a half away. As you know, Blab is upgrading all of their facilities and their HD capability and the call-in capability. So we're all looking very forward to getting back to the call-in format of the show. But in the interim, we want to continue to highlight those things at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. And so tonight, got an interesting program. We're going to talk to you in our first half about equine rescue in Escambia County. We've got a representative with us and also one of the staff attorneys from the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. We'll talk about the program itself, how it operates, why we need that, and why it's a vital component in our community. And I think you'll probably be surprised at the breadth and depth and scope of what these individuals do. And also, again, we have one of our staff attorneys here to talk to you about the legal ramifications of that, things that we must do from a legal perspective, and specifically at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office, to provide this service to our community. And then we'll round out tonight's show with another guest, Chief Deputy Larry Akins on. We've got some phenomenal crime stats to report for 2011 and want to talk a lot about not just hard numbers, but the reasons why we believe some of those numbers are down and why we're again going to solicit the assistance and help of our community in keeping those numbers down. We've got some wonderful programs that we've put in place in Escambia County, and as you well know, we reap what we have sown. And so over the last 3 years, we've implemented a lot of very forward-leaning, progressive programs at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. And now after that length of time, they have taken root. And we're proud to tell you that our community, we believe, is turning the corner. And as a result of that, I think our crime stats are going to be clearly indicative of that and something that as a community we can be very, very proud of. And so with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll go to our first short commercial break. I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan. After this commercial break, we'll introduce our first guest for the first half of this show, and we'll talk a little bit about the equine rescue and the program at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. Thank you.
Right now in Florida, there are more than 300,000 adults who could just wander off. Most of them are elderly. All of them are memory impaired. And when they have access to a car, even a few miles away from home can be life-threatening. Today, in Florida, there is a program called Silver Alert. It's a way to help us find and protect our wandering lost souls.
Dedicated.
Committed.
Professional. Are you ready for the challenge?
Dedication, commitment, and professionalism. Those are words that really typify the young men and women that work at the Escambia County Correctional Facility. And we are actively recruiting people for these positions. See if you measure up and that those words will actually apply to you. Come and join the professional team at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. We're looking for a few good men and women.
Contact the Escambia County Sheriff's Office or go online.
If you know of a crime that has occurred on your school campus, report it to Crime Stoppers. You will never be asked to give your name, and if your tip leads to an arrest or school disciplinary action, you could earn cash. There are 3 easy ways to report your information. Report your tip by phone by calling 433-STOP. That's 433-7867. Or text GCCS plus your tip to crimes. That's 374-637. Or log on to GulfCoastCrimeStoppers.org and leave a web tip. Once you provide your tip to Crime Stoppers, you will be given a secret code number. Keep the number in a safe place and protect it just as you would protect your cash. Since Crime Stoppers does not know who you are, it's up to you to contact us to follow up on your tip or to get instructions on how to claim your reward. It's easy, it's anonymous, and it could put cash in your pocket.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Escambia County Sheriff David Morgan, and welcome back to your Escambia County Sheriff's Report. Again, tonight, in our first half, we're going to talk about the Equine Rescue Program. And so it's my honor to introduce Miss Diane Lowry with Equine Rescue. Diane, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Sheriff.
And next to her is Mr. Jerry Champagne. Mr. Champagne's one of our staff attorneys at the Escambia County Sheriff's Office. And tonight Mr. Champagne's going to discuss with us the legal issues, if you will, of equine rescue and the things we must do on storage of animals, etc. And so to begin with that, so the audience will get to know the two of you, we'll just start out. Diane, are you a long-term resident in Escambia County?
I've been in Escambia County all my life.
Ah, so you're a local.
Yes, I am.
And how long have you been involved with equine rescue?
Well, we started our organization in February 2005, so it's been 7 years.
Okay. Now, were you with the original group that kind of set up, you know, the legalities of it? And if you would, for just a moment, speak to that, because I know a lot of folks think this is like a volunteer organization, and I don't think they really understand the breadth and scope of this, which you have statutory authority in many instances.
That is correct. We actually, there's 3 of us that went before a county judge, and we got approved to do investigations in Escambia County.
Good. And I know you work very closely with the state attorney's office.
Yes,
too.
we do.
Okay. And we're going to show a short video here in just a moment, folks, after we get through the introductions, because I think it will clearly, again, it's probably most descriptive and I think visually indicative of why we have the equine rescue program and why it's necessary, unfortunately, in this community. And then, Mr. Champagne, from a legal perspective, you know, for the Sheriff's Office, I know you're, you know, involved in the policies and procedures that we write. And so, Jerry, if you would tell folks a little bit about your background. I know you're an old military dog like me.
I am. I'm retired Navy JAG, retired in 1997. Was with the state attorney's office for about 9 years. Then came out of semi-retirement to be a contract advisor for the sheriff. I've been here about 1.5 years advising the office.
Well, we appreciate that, Jerry. We'll talk to some specifics on the equine rescue part. So right now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to show you a short video clip. It runs about 8 minutes, and we'll talk over that. And Diane, if you would, while the video is running, again, you know, you can speak to the specifics of where it's at and the type of animals, of course, that we rescue, et cetera. And of course, Jerry, you know, pipe in there if you'd like at any time. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll run our first video, and again, we'll do a voiceover on this. Diane?
Okay. Actually, this is a horse that was picked up roaming at large. The Sheriff's Office has a livestock officer under contract that picks up the animals. And what happens is they bring them in, and Jerry, what are the specifics on that? Do you know on how they advertise?
Well, basically, most people don't know the sheriff's role in livestock running at large. I didn't know it before I came to advise the sheriff's office, but by statute, the sheriff is the officer responsible in Escambia County for collecting livestock running at large. Of course, horses are livestock. When livestock's found running at large, contact the sheriff's office. We have a livestock officer. He's under contract to us. He has the capability to capture animals. It's only animals running on public property that, for this purpose, that we're interested in. Once we find an animal running at large, we try to find the owner. If we can't find the owner by making some inquiries, we have a responsibility to advertise in the paper to try to locate the owner. If we still can't locate the owner, then the sheriff has the obligation to dispose of the animal in a manner that's seen fit. Basically, livestock running at large frequently they're not in best of conditions. They're really usually not of much commercial value. We do try to auction them off after appropriate notification. If you are interested in purchasing one of these animals, you can get them fairly cheap at some of these auctions because we don't have a lot of bids for them.
Well, this particular animal has beautiful markings, doesn't he? So it's kind of odd that he would be out wandering. So.
Well, with today's economy, I think because people it costs money to care for a horse. And,
Diane, is that because I know we have, you know, sadly some instances of you know, not well. You know, we call it neglect, but I know there's a point where neglect, meaning I just don't want to pay attention to the grooming and care of this animal, etc. You know, it does become abuse very quickly when starvation is involved, and again, not caring medically for the animal through the appropriate veterinary supplies or programs, I should say. But is that primarily it? It's just neglect of the animals, you think?
Unfortunately, yes, it is. The economy has affected a lot of it, but most of the time we find in investigations it's the same sort of people that will just actually neglect, and they abuse not only the animals but their spouse and their children. It all plays hand in hand.
Yeah, and I noticed we did have an instance, it wasn't long after I took office in '09, where we actually had some animals that I know were being shot
Right.
up in the north end of the county, and we eventually solved that case. We found the young man that was doing that. So do you recall this specific case here, what we have here?
Yes, this is actually some mules that were also picked up roaming at large with a horse. There were 3 of them. And I just wanted to thank you, Sheriff, because you are giving us the opportunity to place these animals after you can't get them bid on at Molino.
Right.
At the Molino substation is actually where you do this.
Right.
And the fact that we have an opportunity to give them good homes means a lot to us as a rescue. I am proud to say that we've been able to place every equine.
Oh, really?
Yes,
That's
sir.
outstanding.
Since you allowed us to start this, it was a year ago. So thank you for doing that. All of these horses have gone into excellent homes, and we get updates on them, and they're doing wonderful.
Well, I know Senior Commander Darlene Dickey, who's our lead counsel at the Sheriff's Office. She's, I know, a big horsewoman, by the way. In her younger days, she was, did quite a little bit of riding and stuff. And so I think, well, I don't think I know, there's a special place in her heart for the horses and all that. And I know the times that we've had to step in with your organization, they've had to immediately put animals down. I know that's
Right.
That's kind of heart-wrenching because it's sadly, sadly sometimes when the vets make the call, the doctors, I guess that is a humane thing to do.
Yes,
So,
it is.
yeah. Now, is it? And it's not just starvation. Of course, when they're malnourished, they develop certain diseases too. Is that correct?
Yes, there's a lot that, it depends on how emaciated they get. Some of them, they get so bad that you can't bring them back. It's really sad, but we've been just so fortunate in that most of them do survive. All they need is food. And you just have to be really careful when you rehabilitate them. And we do that under a veterinarian's advice. So it's wonderful to see what they look like. You would be amazed at how well these look now.
And that's actually a burro there, isn't it?
That's actually a little miniature mule.
A miniature mule. Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say it looked more like a burro because of the size.
We couldn't figure out what it
Yeah,
was until
yeah,
actually another rescue took that one.
Did it? Okay.
And so they've been sending me updates. We do have a Facebook page if anybody wants to go and get the information on these animals and all of the updates.
So that miniature mule is full grown?
Yes, actually.
Yeah.
So cute little thing.
Yeah, the head is. Yeah, you're right. Now that I notice, the head is not the head of a burro. It has more of the horse features to it, which is more like the mule. So, and of course here, obviously, we have other animals that we find now. Are these animals too at large?
Yes. Yes.
And this mostly just comes when people call us and report that, isn't it? That they find animals out wandering somewhere.
Animals out in the street, running around, or in the countryside, on public lands. They call our sheriff's office, and we dispatch Josh Weekly, who's our agent. The facility you're seeing here, I believe this is Josh's.
Yes, it is.
And we contract with him to store the animals until we can get them disposed of. What we've done in most cases, try to sell them. We have sold some. In the event they're not sold, we've been donating them to Panhandle, through Panhandle Equine Rescue. And as Diane said, they've been very successful in finding homes for the animals. So that's a great outcome.
We have a great network, great source of rescues and people that love animals. And so through our Facebook page, we are able to place them
And is it mostly with farms up in the north end of the county?
all over the country.
All over the country. Interesting.
And of course, we have to get to the point where we're legally able to transfer title before we can send them to Diane. Now, the other side of this is the cruelty side, the animal cruelty side. And the sheriff's also involved in that. In fact, any law enforcement officer in the county has the authority to take possession of animals who have been abused and neglected under the law. So we do on occasion take custody of animals under those circumstances. Of course, that can also be a crime. And we're working with the county. They investigate those types of cases. Diane investigates those types of cases. And our deputies who happen to come on those types of cases will file a report if necessary. We have a case going on right now where animals were basically abandoned, very badly neglected. Diane can talk more to that. But in that case, I just filed this week, or maybe it was Friday. We have to file a civil process to determine whether the owner is fit to retain custody of the animals. And so we start that process, and the outcome of that can be that those animals who have been abused and neglected are turned over to the sheriff, again, for possible placement with Diane Lowry.
Yeah, and I know, Diane, of course, you and Jerry both know that the state attorney's office has been taking a particular interest in these
Yes,
cases
they
too,
have.
because I know that while it's with the again with the animals, there's a lot of public interest in this. I think that of course it ranks below obviously child abuse and child neglect, but I think there's a special place in most people's hearts for those that would abuse animals, because again they, much like children in many instances, they are in our care. That they're totally dependent, especially in today's world where we're not, we don't live in the wild, and so you don't have, except out in the West. Speaking of that, I was doing some reading here recently on the Mustangs that we still have out in places in the Northwest, and there's a big move afoot to not thin those herds because apparently they've been thinned to the point, and some people were wanting to allow hunting of the wild Mustangs to thin the herds, and some of the equine rescue people have stepped in and said, no, we can place these animals if you'll give us an opportunity to do such. And oddly enough, I think that movie Hidalgo actually helped that, because some of the wild Mustangs in the Oklahoma area are descendants of Hidalgo. So not a plug for the movie, even though I did think it was a great movie, by the way.
And it was a good time for Warhorse.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to go see that yet, and I understand that's a great film too. So,
Well, we have the slaughter issue too. That's
Yes.
in the forefront.
Okay.
That's concerning a lot of people.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, how about we talk about the slaughter issue then, and we'll take a short commercial break after this video presentation. We'll be back with your Escambia County Sheriff's Report.
Right now in Florida, there are more than 300,000 adults who could just wander off. Most of them are elderly. All of them are memory impaired. And when they have access to a car, even a few miles away from home can be life-threatening. Today in Florida, there is a program called Silver Alert.